Hello guys, and welcome to Buddy V's Kitchen. And I'm here with my good friend and executive chef at Buddy V's restaurant, Chef Bryan Forgione.
Thank you very much.
So, how are we doing today?
We're doing great, we're hungry.
All right, today you guys are in for a treat. Today you're gonna see how we make our lasagna at Buddy V's. This lasagna is inspired from my grandmother Maddalena, who's up in heaven right now looking down on me. She was a little old lady who had 8 kids who used to cook on a little 4-burner KitchenAid and crank out the most amazing meals that you could ever imagine. Honestly, the trick to her lasagna, she used to mix not only ground beef and she used to use sausage, but she mixed in some spicy sausage. And I think that the spicy sausage gave not only her lasagna a little kick, but it even gave the flavor of the sauce it just amplified it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And the way that we learned how to make the lasagna, we got him into the kitchen. He took off the watches and the rings and all that, and rolled up the sleeves and said, this is how, and it was kind of set up, you know, we had all the ingredients and it was, and this is how Grandma cooked. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I had somebody sitting there with a notepad going, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Let's weigh that.
That was about a half a cup.
It's like a panic attack. And I don't want to brag, but didn't we get an award for best lasagna on the strip?
I think I heard that, yeah.
Something like that. You know, I don't want to brag, and you know,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's just say that. It's pretty good. Yeah. Award worthy for sure.
Oh man, Grandma's lasagna is to die for. You gotta try it at home. And it's really not that intimidating. I'm gonna let Chef Bryan show you how to rock it out. You're in good hands. You gotta make it. You're gonna love it.
All right, we're gonna make her smile today.
Make Grandma proud.
Will do. So let's get right into it. Ingredients, that's what we want to talk about first. It is important that you have all your ingredients set up. You got your bowls, you got all your dishes, you got your spoons, your pasta. Speaking of pasta, I encourage you, if you've never done it, and if you have a pasta roller, make your own fresh pasta and have experience. It's the best way to do it. It's the way we do it at the restaurant, but for our purposes here, you can easily buy fresh pasta sheets. But what we have here is kind of a different technique. So we're gonna start with a cooked pasta sheet. And what we want to do is you want to look at what your dish is, which we're going to use this 9x13 baking dish, and we want to measure the sheets out so that it works out right. So we're just going to add in our pasta sheets. 1, 2, and we're going to have a little bit of an overlap. So what's going to work out well for this, if we know it's going to be roughly 2.5, and we can just kind of mark it off. We know where it's going to be. We know that the other piece is going to fit onto the next layer. And it's coming just a little bit up on the sides, but that's gonna work out well. So we're gonna pull everything back. Now that we know that we're ready to go, let's get into the other ingredients here. This one we call bechamel. Technically, it's kind of like a gravy. However, between East Coast me, I'm from New York, and you know, New York and New Jersey, it really changes between sauce and gravy. Buddy calls it gravy, I call it sauce. We call it a bechamel. Now, bechamel is traditionally made with milk and a roux, which is flour and butter. And actually, we don't use any milk in it. We use actually a chicken stock and any of the juices that we have from making our lasagna meat. All right, so the lasagna meat, sweet sausage, spicy sausage, ground beef, pork. Cook that all out. We add in a little bit of our homemade marinara sauce, some fresh basil, some parsley, a little bit of seasoning, cracked pepper, salt, and it's all you really need. Some tips on buying sausage. Depending on who you get it from and where it comes out of, the spicy sausage could be really hot. So please, if you're gonna buy the spicy sausage, try it first, because what you don't want is for your lasagna meat to be overpoweringly spicy. So we have ricotta cheese. You can buy store-bought or you can make your own. Fresh basil. All right, and our homemade marinara sauce, Parmesan, and a blend of mozzarella and provolone cheese. The mozzarella is kind of soft and creamy, and the provolone has a nice little bit of twang to it that really adds a nice level to the dish. All right, so we have all our ingredients. We have our pasta, and we have our baking dish, and we're good to go. So first step, we're gonna put a little bit of our marinara sauce. We're gonna put it down. You wanna have something, nice base onto the bottom of the dish. It's gonna help so it doesn't stick or burn to the bottom, and we're doing that with a great flavored sauce. So starting with our sheets here, we're gonna go 1, give a nice little push, 2, and 3. Our bechamel, or lasagna gravy, we're going to put just a little bit down. Now, you want to use What we're gonna end up doing with this is we're gonna press it, and we're gonna put it in the fridge and we're gonna press it. And you wanna use all cold ingredients, because we don't wanna put hot ingredients into it and then try to put it into a cold environment and all that, because it's gonna get heated up all together when we're ready to bake it off. So we wanna take our bechamel and we're gonna spread it. As you see here, I'm just using the back of a spoon. What everyone tends to do is forget about the corners, and don't. Some of the corners, if you like the nice little crispy pieces, it's gonna be the best part. Next, we're going to use a little bit of ricotta cheese. You want to randomly put the ricotta cheese down, so that way when you go through the layers, it's in different spots and you get nice little pockets of it. Then we're going to put our meat down. As you see here, it's not too finely ground up. We have nice pieces of beef and sausage here. And again, we're gonna end up pressing this down, so don't feel like it's gonna make your lasagna too loose by making too many big pockets in it. All the meat is cooked, so we sauteed the meat. Very simply, we just sauteed it in a little bit of oil, and we poured off some of that fat. And actually what we did with the fat is that we reserved it and we used it to make our roux that made this lasagna bechamel. All right, so in that bechamel, you got flavors of the spicy sausage and all the meats coming through. So it's adding a layer. It's not just flour and butter. We used a little bit of butter mixed in with all the oils that came from the sausages and the meats cooking. Next, we're just gonna pull the basil. We're gonna tear it, do it gently. We slice basil, we don't chop basil. It's kind of a way to think about it. And again, kind of like what we did with the ricotta cheese, you want to just do it in random spots, so that way when each layer that goes down, you get different kind of flavors and different pops in every bite. And then we're going to go from corner to corner, end to end with our Parmesan cheese. Now, if you see with the marinara sauce here, we're just kind of randomly putting it down. If you haven't figured out the pattern already, we're putting all these great ingredients together, but we're doing it in random spots, and it's going to happen throughout each layer. And at the restaurant here, we do 8 layers. You don't have to do that at home. I recommend it because it is a big wow factor, especially if you're having guests over. And then we're gonna top it off with our mozzarella and provolone. Now, you don't want to blanket it completely. You don't want to completely cover it. You want to be able to see the meat. You want to see all the ingredients that you put down, because you're gonna go layer by layer, and at the end of the day, it's gonna be a lot of cheese. So this is the perfect amount of cheese that you want to do, and then we're going to top it off. So you want to grab something that's a little bit smaller. That way, in between each layer, which is very important, just to give it a push down and really kind of lock in what we're doing here. And you don't need to go too crazy. You don't need to slam anything down. We're just doing it just to really make sure that everything is nice, even layered, and then it comes out nice and compact when it's all said and done with. All right, so from this point, and depending on the size of your dish, depending on how hungry you are, how many people you have coming over, you could keep doing this all the way through and until it pleases you. You want to do 10 layers, 5 layers, 20 layers, completely up to you. But this is the concept, and what I've done for you today is I created an 8-layer lasagna, so that way you guys can see how it looks and how it presents. We would top this off with just marinara sauce, some of our mozzarella, provolone cheese, and Parmesan, and we're gonna bake it off in the oven. Ah, yeah, look at that. So what I've done for you here is this is an 8-layer lasagna. This is an example of the lasagna that we serve at the restaurant. And what we'll do, we'll just take a little bit of our hot marinara sauce. All right. Put this down. Top it off with just a little bit of cheese. Some fresh basil. And that is our 8-layer lasagna. It took me about 20 to 30 minutes at 375 degrees in the oven. And like I said, and depending on the size of your lasagna, just cook it until it's done. All right, and I'm gonna get into this here. Just like Grandma used to make. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Please like, share, subscribe to our channel, and come visit us again.